Top 10 Times Drive, Seuss was controversial. Regardless of whether his books enlivened you to peruse or attempt green eggs, Dr. Seuss has become an easily recognized name for ages. Albeit notable to numerous as the creator of their youth, Theodore Geisel was significantly more than the man behind the rhyme. For the duration of his life, he made substance that was engaging and odd, yet sporadically dubious and, on occasion, bigot. A considerable lot of his distributed works drew on his own lived encounters, both positive and negative. Because of this, Dr. Seuss Home as of late reported that it will quit printing any of his books that contain unsafe, bigoted pictures. Out of the 60 or more books he distributed throughout his profession, 6 of them will be pulled from distribution. Considering that, here are the best multiple times that Dr. Seuss was disputable. Furthermore, the rundown goes far past his books. Dr. Seuss, referred to his loved ones as Ted, hitched his first spouse Helen Palmer in 1927. Helen was a capable kids creator by her own doing, writing profoundly acclaimed stories, as well as developing Seuss's own work. She would likewise go on to establish Beginners Books, a subset of Random House Publishing devoted to books for youthful perusers. Fledgling's Books turned into the biggest youngsters distributing organization in America. You might be considering how his relationship with somebody so capable and amazing by her own doing would be dubious. Well, Helen became sick with Guillain-Barré syndrome and therefore got incapacitated because of her disease. Following 13 years of combating different medical conditions, Palmer passed on by self-destruction on October 23, 1967. Not long before her passing, she left a note specifying how her troublesome relationship with Seuss was a primary contributing component in her death. The note defined how Helen felt encompassed by disappointment, and how she was unable to envision an existence without Ted. It proceeded to depict how Ted could conceal the purposes for her self-destruction, even in death, ensuring the spouse she so adored. It is generally accepted that Helen had as of late found her better half's undertaking, and it was this double-crossing combined with her disease that would prompt her self-destruction. While many contend that there's undeniable value in after your heart, double-crossing your significant other absolutely communicates something specific about your character. Primus player placeholder. While functioning as a medical attendant in Massachusetts, Audrey met the Seuss. It wasn't some time before she and Ted developed close, energizing bits of hearsay about an arid issue between the two. These tales were apparently demonstrated genuine when in Helen's self-destruction note she highlighted their issue as a justification for her profound depression. Immediately following her companion's passing, Audrey petitioned for legal separation from her then spouse. The two wedded not exactly a year after Helen's demise. Not exclusively did Ted's carelessness add to his first spouse's passing, yet to the death of his second wife's relationship with her children. Because of his open reluctance to father youngsters, Audrey sent her little girls to live-in school following her union with Ted. So not exclusively was Dr. Seuss a horrible spouse to his first wife, yet his relationship with his subsequent wife made her relinquish the two most notable individuals in her day-to-day existence. We should see him compose a rhyme about that. 8. The minstrel show Disgrace. A large number of his later works have bigoted tones and introductions. However, his soonest work was the same. Truth be told, it was considerably more problematic. In his secondary school years, Ted was known to have composed and coordinated as well as to have featured in a minstrel show, complete with blackface. A minstrel show in name alone may seem like a cheerful satire intended to carry delight to groups, everything being equal. Yet, truly it's an incredible inverse. While satire was a primary component, the reason for the parody style was to propagate racial generalizations of the time. Most noticeably seen during the mid to late 1800s, it would amazingly endure as an artistic expression in less refined settings. Feline in the Hat has a racist face. It's educational to adapt precisely where Dr. Seuss took motivation from for his popular representations of the cat, in The Cat in the Hat. A singer was regularly a white man, who painted his face with cosmetics to deride and corrupt the African American population. You can perceive how the white inside of the cat in the hat's face and body, encircled by the dark outside hiding and beat by a misrepresented tie and formal hat, is suggestive of the costuming of an entertainer-actor. While youngsters today may not be comfortable with the Singer Theatre, kids at the hour of unique distribution would have been. Also, when seen next to each other with photos from minstrel entertainers in the 19th century, combined with Seuss's own set of experiences with participating in and advancing minstrel acts, there are striking similitudes. Investigating the plan and concealing of a significant number of the figures in his accounts, it is anything but a long way to envision that there may be a greater amount of these curved Easter eggs covering up in his other kids' books. Retail chain publications. In 1929, Dr. Seuss was a functioning supporter of Judge, a fruitful traditionalist paper of the time. In an especially stunning outline, he includes white men in what is by all accounts an office store. Instead of looking for regular family things, these men are taking a gander at unreasonable items that are intentionally intended to make the purchaser's life troublesome. This incorporates a pile that conceals a needle and one man getting gnats to go with a recuperating treatment. As the peruser goes to the baseboard of the outline, you start to perceive how plain the depicted bigotry really is. There's no concealing it. The baseboard includes a white man remaining in a room loaded with men dressed in blackface and misrepresented highlights, noisily declaring with a racial slur the men dressed in blackface were available to be purchased. Not exclusively were the portrayals of dark residents genuinely hostile and hurtful in any event. For the time, it advanced that not exclusively were dark residents available to be purchased like regular items, yet that they were likewise unequipped for performing rudiments assignments and would just serve to bother the buyer. This animation is hostile to the cutting-edge eye, plainly showing Seuss's dull disposition towards racial strain in the United States. Bias against Japanese Americans. It's actual. Dr. Seuss endeavored to help support the United States through WW II by selling war bonds and by drawing political kids shows. Yet, from numerous points of view, he fell flat. Perpetuating the idea that Japanese Americans had a place in internment camps was nonsensical as well as ethically frightful. While he attempted to evaluate the United States' absence of reaction to the slaughter of youngsters in Europe, the racialized his portrayals of the Japanese. In one renowned animation, Japanese individuals are seen arranging for a significant distance for the opportunity to purchase bombs, and he intimates that they're ready to pounce for orders from the Japanese armed force. In another, you see felines bouncing a fence into an internment camp, encouraging negative generalizations about Japanese Americans. Seuss later went on an outing to Japan and saw the consequence of the nuclear bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. The experience, as far as anyone knows, moved his point of view, later devoting, Horton hears a who, to Mitsugi Nakamura. Anyway, many would in any case address if he really changed his methodologies. You don't want to know what's on Mulberry Street. One of the books remembered for the 2021 drop of Dr. Seuss's books is And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street. The Seuss home chose to pull 6 books in light of the conspicuous bigoted portrayals through their delineations. Mulberry Street highlighted an outline of an Asian man in a sharp cap, skewed lines for eyes, and included him holding a bowl of rice with chopsticks. This portrayal inclined toward and encouraged negative generalizations of the time. At the point when it was declared that his home was stopping printing this story, numerous all through the nation went into a commotion. The deals saw, making stores sell out all over and utilize duplicates to sell for many dollars. On the off chance that Seuss ran the zoo, it'd be hard to compete. In his 1950 youngsters book, If I Ran the Zoo, Seuss follows a young man as he ventures to the far corners of the planet in an intricate dream about filling his own zoo. It appears to be moderately innocuous for a young man to fantasize about undertakings in distant terrains. In any case, the representations that go with the story follow a more evil line of thought. The story portrays this young man making a trip to catch progressively colorful animals, take them away from their homes and hold them in imprisonment to be ogled at by outsiders. Not exclusively would this idea alone be extremely strong of colonization philosophy, yet the portrayals of individuals in these grounds are likewise problematic at best. In one scene, you can see Asian men, again unmistakably included with skewed eyes and overstated dress, conveying a whimsical animal in a bamboo confine on their heads. With hands together in an imploring position, they nearly appear to be happy to take the animals of their country away to imprisonment in another country. The real trash in McAlligott's pool. Obviously the young man from "And to Think I Saw It on Mulberry Street" didn't cause sufficient destruction. He returned for McAlligott's pool. Here the little fellow sits by a lake, confident of getting a fish. At the point when a grown-up stops by endeavoring to pound the kid's deepest desires, disclosing to him the pool is loaded with rubbish, he envisions a superior outcome. Again, one would not regularly accept that a little fellow longing for a hotshot on his line would be questionable in any capacity. However, Dr. Seuss is here to demonstrate you wrong. This time Seuss moved past his regular depiction of dark and Japanese Americans. He set his sights somewhat farther north. Here he shows fish in thick hide hooded coats, implying that these fish would swim from the north.